Hello and welcome to this super special video. My name is Coach Adrian, and if you're watching this video, it's because you want to get back with your ex or with someone you love. This video is very different from the ones on our YouTube channel. It is my gift to you. It is the 10 mistakes to avoid when trying to get your ex back, when trying to rebuild a relationship. Now, these mistakes that I will share with you are lessons that I've learned over years and years and years of coaching individuals just like you in private coaching sessions over the phone or over Skype. And after having coached thousands of individuals, I have seen trends, things to avoid in order to maximize your chances of success. And that's what this video is all about. So, mistake number one. One of the most common mistakes that people make is in regards to timing. When trying to reconnect with their significant other after a breakup, timing is off. And you tend to rush too quickly to convey to them that you want to get back together, to want to reconnect, to want to communicate before they are ready to hear from you or before you are ready and in the right mindset to communicate with them. This is a mistake that happens all the time. Why? Because you're still in a very emotional state. You love this person, you're afraid of losing them, and so you want to very quickly reconnect with them. But if you act too quickly, you're going to end up pushing them away, and quite frankly, it's going to be a lot more difficult to reach your goal. What I've seen is that the process can get more complicated because of mistakes that happen at the time of the breakup or after the breakup, not because of everything that happened throughout the relationship. And so one way to make sure that you don't make this mistake is by following a simple exercise that I will share with you now. I want you to take a step back and I want you to think about your action and behavior since the relationship ended. In what ways have you tried to communicate to your significant other that you want to get back together? It's very important for you to be thorough in order to see all of the mistakes that you have made, in order to learn from them, so that your behavior can change appropriately moving forward. Knowing what you know now, I'm sure that a lot of these issues that you will identify are not things that you will do moving forward because you have a lot more information and insights on this process of getting an ex back. The second common mistake that people make is letting your fears get the best of you. Because you are in this emotional mindset, you're acting or communicating from a place of fear, from a place of vulnerability. And as a result of that, you can then start to push your significant other away because you're in this state of fear that they're going to forget about you or this fear that they're going to find someone else. And the key lesson here is that it is absolutely important and essential for you to regain confidence before taking steps towards your significant other, before engaging with them again. Otherwise, if you are taking steps based on from a place of fear or vulnerability, you're going to end up pushing them away. And this process will be a lot more complicated than it has to. So, as a second exercise, what you can do is go back to your previous list and try to identify which of those actions came from a place of fear and vulnerability, and which of those actions actually came from a place of clarity and from a place of well-being and happiness. This should give you more clarity. And it's essential for you to accept that the worst has already happened. The breakup is behind you, and it can only go up from here as long as you're not acting from a place of fear or vulnerability. There's a freedom that comes with the realization that we can only go up from here. The third mistake that a lot of people make is in thinking that they're going to be able to talk themselves into getting back with their significant other. The truth is that actions speak louder than words in this process, especially. And trying to convey through words that you've changed is not going to cut it. What your significant other is seeking is action to prove that you've evolved, not just words talking about that evolution. And it's very easy when you start watching videos on YouTube, when you start to share and gain insights as to what has happened in your relationship, to want to convey that to your significant other very quickly. But you need to internalize what you learn, and you need to apply it to your day-to-day life to make sure that you're actually seeking to build new habits. That's what can get your significant other to start to believe in your transformation and in your change. And there's another exercise that I've developed that I wanted to share with you to help you rebuild those habits. So the first step is to try to identify new habits that you need to develop in order to prove to yourself, first and foremost, right, that you're not the same person that they broke up with, that you actually have evolved since the breakup. So once you've been able to identify these habits that you want to develop, a second step can be to start to think about how you can develop those habits. Like, what are the steps that you can do to make sure that you follow through on this desire to transform and to evolve? A fourth mistake that a lot of people make is waiting indefinitely for their significant other to reach out to them. Some other coaches on social media, some other resources may tell you to wait at all costs in order to maintain a certain hold on the power dynamic. But by doing so, you may actually be missing out on many opportunities to be able to reconnect with your significant other. Just because they're not reaching out to you does not mean that they don't miss you. Just because they're not reaching out to you does not mean that they're not thinking about you. And so it's very important to not be in this mindset of action paralysis. That's how I describe this type of mentality. Because in essence, you're waiting too long out of fear of rejection and out of fear of making a mistake. And by doing that, you're depriving yourself of actually growth and learning, because it is through taking steps and action, even in the process of reconnecting with your significant other, that you can get better at communicating with them and at having a better sense as to where you actually stand in this breakup recovery journey. And so an exercise that I want you to think about is the different opportunities that you could organically reconnect with the one you love. Think in terms of important dates, milestones, shared interests. Those can help you connect with your significant other in a way that is non-threatening and not desperate, organic in some ways. But the point here is to make sure that you don't miss out on opportunities to organically take steps towards your significant other. A fifth mistake that people make is when they make it all about them. Because you're in this place of vulnerability, it's easy to get overly emotional and to start to talk to your significant other about your wants, your desires, your emotion. And because your significant other is in a different mindset, that won't resonate with them. And many of the clients that end up making mistakes and pushing their significant other as a result of that are lacking in empathy. You're turned inwards and toward yourself instead of looking at your partner, their needs. And in order to be able to be there to meet those needs. And so the fifth exercise that I wanted to share with you was to get you to start thinking about your ex's needs, their desires, their fears, so that you can start to validate those feelings in the course of conversations as you start to reconnect with them. But the key point here again is to make sure that you're not making it all about you and what you want for your future together, but really to be turned towards them so that you are ready to meet their needs by raising your level of empathy. The sixth mistake that a lot of people make is acting like you need your significant other to be happy. Of course, you may be in a mindset where you feel like you need them to be happy, but by doing so, all that you're doing is that you're putting them on a pedestal and you're depriving them of this ability to miss you and to take steps towards you. And so it's important to point out that it can be quite counterproductive and quite harmful to this process to really act like you need them to be happy. The truth is, you don't need them to be happy. The truth is that this is a false belief and that you can and should be happy without them. And that's the only way to put an organic process of attraction in place. There's nothing attractive about someone that is desperate and that needs you to feel happy. So the question that I want to pose to you in this regard is, what do you think you need to find a new sense of purpose and for you to be fulfilled and happy again, even before getting back with your significant other? That is a critical question. And if you cannot find an answer to this question, it's going to be very difficult for you to get your significant other back in your life. But if you are able to do so, things will start to fall into place. You will find that renewed sense of confidence and well-being and happiness, and in turn, your attraction power is going to be greatly impacted by this process. The seventh mistake that a lot of people make is losing hope. So many people feel like their situation is unique and that it's not going to be possible for them because of their mistakes that they've made. But the reality is that everyone's situation is unique. Everyone has made mistakes. And if you lose hope, if you don't believe in your own capacity to make this happen, how will we convince this other person to believe in you and what you have to offer and the promise of this relationship? So it is very, very important that you realize that although your situation is unique and you've made unique mistakes, that does not mean that it is impossible. There's always two components to think about when we talk about rebuilding a relationship. One is personal development and personal transformation, and the other is a healthy communication platform, being able to engage, communicate without them feeling threatened or without you putting too much pressure on them to do so. If you're able to transform yourself post-breakup and to rebuild a healthy communication platform, the overwhelming odds are that the result will be a new and improved relationship. That is the path towards maximizing your chances of success. And I want you to ask yourself, what can you do? What should you do to really work on your personal development? Reflect on that process and think about what that should look like for you based on where you stand now. And similarly, you can think about what do you need to do to restore a healthy communication platform with your significant other, because that's going to be essential in order to rebuild that relationship. And I have tools at your disposal to help you do that organically and well. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. The eighth mistake that I see is that people act like it's a love issue instead of understanding that most of the times it is a trust issue. So what do I mean by that? If you're trying to make your ex fall in love with you again, you are in essence missing the boat if it is a trust issue. It's not by buying gifts, for example, that you're necessarily going to be able to rebuild trust long term. And understanding that they did not lose their love for you, but they lost their trust in your ability to make them happy can be a game changer, because you can redirect your actions to make sure that you're taking steps towards them that help rebuild trust, not to try to wow them or to make them fall in love with you again. Of course, romance is important, but if there's no trust, ultimately you won't be able to rebuild a solid relationship. So, as a reminder linked to this point, The next time that you take a step towards your ex and moving forward as you start to take steps towards your significant other, consistently ask yourself, is what I'm doing helping to rebuild trust or not? Am I conveying love? Am I trying to get them to fall in love with me again? Or am I actually taking an approach that helps rebuild trust? That will help you stay grounded in this process and actually make progress over time. The ninth mistake that I see very often is letting others get in your head. When you let outside influences derail your process of getting your significant other back. It can be friends, it can be family members, it can be a coach on YouTube or something that you read somewhere that all of a sudden throws everything into a state of flux and you're not sure what the next step should be. Once you get into that place of confusion, it's very easy to make a mistake because you're not following your roadmap anymore. And you're acting more out of impulse and feelings and emotion at a time when that's not what you should be basing your actions on because of the emotional and vulnerable state that we've described previously in this video. So there are certain things that you can do to make sure that you protect yourself from these outside influences. And one thing that I recommend that you do is that you buy a journal and that you start journaling so that you can convey your fears, your frustrations, and your anxieties, as well as all of the positive steps that you're taking in the journal, instead of to friends or to families or to someone else. Because these people love you, they want to protect you, and it's only a normal consequence and reaction that if you were to share this fear and this anxiety, they would perhaps tell you things to help you feel better, not things that can help you rebuild the relationship, which is your goal and why you are watching this secret video, this gift. So journaling daily and getting into the habit can really help you empty your emotional bucket and make sure that you stay true to your roadmap and to your plan. The 10th mistake that I see, which is quite sad, is when people give up too soon. It's in some ways understandable when you don't have the proper support or when you feel like you've done everything, when in reality you have not done everything to maximize your chances of rebuilding this new relationship. And really, I want you to understand that not all relationships are meant to work out, but many can work out if you take the right steps. And I have a little tool that can help you do that. In your journal, let's do a projection exercise together. Write the narrative of how you are going to reconnect with your significant other in your journal. As part of this narrative, talk about how you're going to be able to earn their trust again and how you're going to be able to rebuild that new and improved relationship that you're working on. Try to be detailed and specific. What will that new relationship look like? The more detailed you are, the more this will help you see the end in the beginning. The more it will help you to really see what is possible and work from there. Now, I do want to end this video on a positive note. From my experience, I know that it is possible to rebuild a relationship, even when all hope seems lost. And that's why I ended on this 10th point. Because if you have the right tools at your disposal, you're able to perhaps see new doors and new possibilities and really transform your mindset, how you perceive yourself, and a potential future with your significant other. And I believe that we have the tools that can help you get there. If you want to make sure that you have the support you need to not lose hope and to not make all of these mistakes and many more that I've seen in coaching sessions, please invest in yourself. Get a system in place that can help you really walk this path of rebuilding this relationship with your significant other with you. We have created an amazing method, the 3-product program. Coach Natalie, Coach Alex, and myself have developed this program to really walk hand in hand with you throughout this process of breakup recovery to help you reach the desired results and outcome. It is possible. I've seen it happen. I see it happen all the time, weekly, with the people that I coach. But you need to have the proper support and the proper resources. Frankly, in this video, we're only scratching the surface and bringing your attention to different concepts and themes and mistakes that are important for you to learn from. But it is very important for you to understand how to actually do this and how to do it properly so that you can speed up the breakup recovery process and make sure that you ensure results, that you actually get to where you want to be. So if you want to be more certain to reach your goals, if you want to be able to reach your goals in a faster timetable, or if you simply just don't want to do as much work as you would otherwise if you did not have a plan, check out our 3-product method. It's really the tool that can help you get over the hump and quickly back in a relationship with the person you love. So if you're interested in taking the next step, please click on the link below and we can continue on this journey together. As always, keep fighting the good fight and see you soon, hand in hand on this path together.